I want to improve my English and I want to learn German. Learn a language in 7 days. If you want to learn Spanish, we can talk. Bachelor of. And next of my 40 years old, so look, you can get a university degree, not matter how old you are. I have a very critical position about to force children to take care of their parents when they go elder. Why there are children that forget while there are another children that always remember. Those children that forget there are bad sons and bad daughters. If the parents are really worried about the relation, putting attention, love, care to the relation, it is not natural that the children will have care of their parents. Hello guys, I'm Alejandro Pu, trying to improve my English and learn Deutsch. Today I come with an interesting insight, something about elderly care homes, particularly if the children has the duty or not of remember their parents, because I'm a bit critic about this issue. But I will start with the Deutsch words, so if you want to hear the insights, go directly to the section 2 of this video. I put the minute of section 2 on the description of the video, and probably over here or here or here in some place. I hope not to be so idiot to do the edition of this video. Anyway, we will go to the section 1 where I will show you the next 60 words I learned. Now I go with 60 words instead of 50 like the last time, and continuing the first 50 words of Talk About Nothing number 2. This will be the words from 51 to 110 of Hochdeutsch. For whom she talks about nothing, by the first time I'm doing this video series because of two reasons. First, I want to improve my English and I want to learn German. How you probably know, your comments help my channel to be more interesting to YouTube and more people. But beyond that, I'm really interesting and appreciate your feedback. So please give me all your opinions under the video. Fortunately, very few days ago, I talked with my German friend and told me she understood the words I said in the last episode, but I want more opinions and we cannot talk every day through voice call. So please, you must to help me. Well, what I did to this video, I wrote everything I say in Spanish. Next, I wrote in English without help of Google Translation or ChatGPT, because I want to show you my level of English in the most natural way to how I talk in the real world. And the second reason why I do this series is to talk you about my thoughts and my way of thinking, hoping generate some of interesting conversation around my insights. That's what we will do in section 2. Now, before I start with German words, I want to tell you that the order I follow to choose the words I'm showing you on this video is the order in which teach them Ramón Campayo, who wrote the book Aprende un idioma en 7 días, which means learn a language in 7 days, and more specific, the book Learn German in 7 days, where I took this order of the words. Ramón Campayo is a world memorization record man who got many world records, very interesting, and a lot of the world champions are students trained by him. Ramón Campayo is from Spain, that's why the majority of the books are in Spanish, but I think he has some versions of these books in English, so I recommend you seek his books. Now, if you want to learn Spanish, we can talk. So contact me through my social networks. Soon I will make a webpage for you to contact me easier, but if you want to contact me right now, go and search my networks in Linktree Alejandro Pu Art. And before I start with section 1, I want to show you my diploma. Is here. Of Licenciado en Ciencias de la Ingeniería that I get from my university around 1 month ago, which is Bachelor of Engineering Sciences. And this is the first because I'm pursuing the career of civil engineering in informatics, something similar to computer science, probably beginning the 2025. And next of my 40 years old, so look, you can get a university degree, not matter how old you are. Plus, this is a picture I took the last week before finish an internship some days ago in a software company called the WOW Group TW. It is in the picture is in their Instagram. So if you need a software made at your own necessities, contact them. They have very good costs. You will not regret. And now, yes, we go with Hook Touch.
For all of the people who hear this podcast, here comes
Section 1.
Alejandro Puch.
Well, this is the section 1. I will start with the first word, which is the number 51, continuing with the last episode of this series. I want you to notice I translated the words to English, but I really learned the words from Spanish to German, so sometimes will be more confusing for me, and in this part I use little bit Google Translator sometimes, but that is not safest than your comments, so your comments are welcome. And the words are 51, demolish or bring down, in Spanish derribar is abmontieren, eliminate is vernichten, füllen, empty is learn, think is denken, imagine or present, vorstellen, believe is glauben, know from the Spanish saber, have knowledge is wissen. Another kind of say no in another different way, I think in Spanish is like conocer, realize, acquire knowledge. Is another word is kennen. Remember is erinnern, forget is vergessen, understand or grasp is verstehen, learn is lernen, memorize is merken, teach, lehren, erklären, treffen, irren, gehen, kommen, ankommen, come back is zurückkommen, gehen is eintreten, get out, ausgehen, rennen, laufen, springen, tanzen, hiken, anhiken, one or two, anhiken or hiken, wait, backen, cross or go across is überqueren, continue is fortsetzen, reisen, hochgehen, runtergehen, einsteigen, aussteigen, fahren, dauern, Fischbecken, müde werden, rest is ausruhen, bed down, acostar is ins Bett gehen, schlafen, wachen, get up, stand up for your rights, is stehen, get up, stand up for your rights.
Don't give up the fight. Yeah.
get dressed is ancien, tidy oneself up, hacerse. Is zurecht machen. Clean up is putzen, stain, manchar. Schmutzig machen. Ingest is Fettsieren. Having breakfast is Frühstücken, midday lunch is zu Mittagessen, zu Abendessen, trinken, Self, taugen, kosten, bezahlen, schulden, geben, wegnehmen. Finally, this word I forgot the last video is the 27 reach, achieve, which is erreichen. And remember, I want your feedback. I'm doing this series because honestly I want your support to learn German and improve my English. So please help me. I need your help.
Somebody, not just anybody. You know I need someone.
I want all your comments about my pronunciation, if I say the words in the correct way, and how I can improve. Okay, section 2. How I told you from the beginning of the video, I have a very critical position about this ethic position in which frequently I listen about that the children must not forget their parents. Well, I think this is the status quo, the mainstream of what from the political world, even to force children to take care of their parents when they go elder. So many countries try to build laws to the system work in this way. Look, I didn't say the children must forget their parents. My statement about this issue is not negative or positive like something absolute. It is more conditional and thinking in something which I think is much more natural and not something forced. And before continuing giving you my opinion, I want you to think in the following. Really, take a couple of minutes to think in this. Do children ask to come to the world, or are parents who take the decision? I say, when they really take that decision. I believe it is a good question to inquire, because it is true that there are sons or daughters that tend to forget their parents, but there are two cases in which the children don't forget ever their parents, and here is where I think it is the error in the inquiry of many people about this topic. This is another question. Why there are children that forget while there are another children that always remember their parents? Well, the mainstream answer that give us the culture in which we live to support this idea of children that have the duty to be in charge of their parents is the answer of those children that forget there are bad sons and bad daughters. They are bad, terrible persons. Well, suppose that this is the general answer because there are an economic interest in politicians who try to get down the expense of money from state in issues like this. I say maybe, and I think the answer that they are bad children not always is the answer. In fact, I think almost never is the answer. By other hand, in another different area, maybe it's not so good to talk about this with children when they are less than 20 years old, or even less than 30 maybe. I don't know, but this too again is not a reason to keep a lie and not to see the truth. Now, if you are agree with this kind of laws that enforce people to economically support their parents, I ask you, where we put the limit? What happened with the abandoned kids, for example? Are abandoned kids must be responsible for their parents? Maybe here you think, no, of course not. They have not the responsibility because their parents abandoned them when they are little kids. So again, my question, where do we put the limit? What with children mistreated, abused, tortured, do they can avoid the responsibility of their parents when they are adults? If you are agree with me, probably, then, and what about psychological torture? And here we start to arrive to the limit in which it's harder to think about it. How even anybody can prove that was psychological torture in their childhood? Then where do we put the limit? I really think it's not possible to afford. So we really must to have a statal obligation with the parents. I say enforce children. I don't know if you follow my point. We can approach this issue from a little bit different point of view, the relation itself, the quality of the relation. It is not natural that when there is a good relation between parents and their children, in the future the children will have care of their parents. If the parents are really worried about the relation, putting attention, love, care to the relation, it is not natural that the children will have care of their parents. I think the answer is yes, but of course many people will say yes, but not all the children forget their parents more common than you think. Okay, so prove me that, and prove me those parents were really loving to their children. If you think that, I think probably you are wrong. Relations are never easy, and if you want to carry child to the world, then you must be conscious about this. It's not for prestige. It's not to appear like a respectable man of family. It is a great responsibility. So think before talk about your dreams. It's not for accomplish your dreams. You are choosing. I want to think you choose it. It is your choosing to carry a human being to this world. You must to be aware that you are carrying a human being to this world. You choose it, not they. We always hear children are the future. No? In songs, poetry, in the media, but I say parents are the past, the present and the future, not children, because they made the past. Our past is made by all the parents of the world. The present and the future too is made by the parents because they are responsible of the development of the children and what kind of children they are contributing to carry in to this world. So stop of giving the responsibility to the child. It is not their responsibility. Well, aside of all what I'm talking, I do not say that society or the state must not take care about the elder people. Maybe it is good. I say the state must to control the spending of the money. I agree with that, but give the responsibility to the children is not the way to take care of the elder people, in my opinion. Children are not responsible of that. I suppose there are some cases in which children, the only they want is to get utilities from their parents or they have bad intentions to them. Even when their parents were there every time when the children needed, and not only when were really obvious and they must to get up their own public image, when their parents were so loving and caring and respectful of their thoughts, their private property, their feelings, etc. Even when your financial situation was so bad that you have nowhere to fall debt, you heroically decided to bring a human being to this world. sorry, I lose the point. I say, okay, I suppose there are some cases in which children, the only they want is to get utilities from their parents, or they have bad intentions to them. But I have doubts about this could be the most common way, and all this inquiry is in general context, because like I read once time from Dalai Lama in a book, when you inquire about any issue, you must inquire in general, because always there are particular cases. Not every case is exactly the same, but the inquiries we usually do must talk about the general, and this approach is in major measure because will be not sense to analyze each one of the infinite particular cases that we could talk about. I want to show you this picture I have here because it is related with what I'm talking. My inquiry is something like this picture. And I want to show you this to tell you the next. I do not like Byung-Chul Han, who is a philosopher that I think is really absurd, but I want to tell you a thought that can be near to his style. It's a thought not so Cartesian, and it is this: frequently parents think or say, like once time said Darth Vader, "I am your father." When they say that, what they really want to say, it is not "I am your father." What they want to say is, "You are my child." Well, I hope someday all we can say, "I am not your son, you are my father." Well, many times it's too late for really tuning that frequency. And this is my inquiry about this topic, so if you are agree, somewhat agree, or totally disagree, tell me in the comments,
You ain't where
please.
you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
Section 3. This section is only a conclusion, so I will not talk a lot in here. In fact, I do not know why is the section 3. Maybe the introduction must be the section 1, the last section, the section 3, and this part only a brief conclusion. Well, anyway, if you didn't see my diploma of bachelor degree, come back to the beginning because I will not show you it now. But I want to tell you some things before end this video. The first is that recently I finished my professional internship. I mentioned it in the beginning, although I don't need it because my titulation method do not consider this. I took it only for get laboral experience in this area, and due to this I haven't done no much time to do this video before. My way of titulation is entrepreneurship, and I must to do a project. It is almost ready, and I must to defend this project in front of a commission in January or February. I don't know yet, so wish me luck, please. Another thing I want to tell you is I created a video of an old interview from more than 10 years ago to Eric Astudillo Larinas. Look for the interview. I will put all the links in the description. And sooner I will edit another old interview I realized to Felipe Chamorro, a young chess player of my city called Constitución here in Chile. And in that interview, like always in an interview, I prepare myself. If you see the interview of Eric Astudillo, sometimes seems I don't know the things that I ask, but believe me, I know about what I'm asking even more than Eric maybe. Sometimes, at least on those times 10 years ago. And I say this because in the interview that comes soon, I do a question to Felipe Chamorro related with his relation with his parents. Take attention of that. I think I never told anybody about this, so you are the first in know. There is an interesting question or two related. Well, I lose a part in the video, but there are a few seconds, so I will record this video to put it inside. I said there is an interesting question or two related with the inquiry on this Talks About Nothing episode, so be alert to this new interview. I want to tell you something about the Inquirer. President Boric from Chile recently announced he will be father. This is a great coincidence from when I started to write the script to this video. I don't want to speculate about his reasons to be father right now. I hope this is something he thought enough about before the happening of this news. But anyway, I wish to him he could see this video, maybe, why not, and assume the real responsibility to bring a child, to bring a human being to this world. Now I continue with the video. And assume the real responsibility to bring a child, to bring a human being to this world. I really hope that because at least he will have no financial problems probably. But be a father is not an issue only about money, and our world needs to advance a lot, I think, a lot about the mentality of this topic I'm talking about. Well, please comment what do you think about my English, help me to improve it, help me with Hochdeutsch too. And my last advice, if you like the kitchen, I recommend you to watch a video from my friend from Romania who made this video to teach how to make Romanian bread. I will put it in the description below too. I did this today in the morning, my Romanian bread that I'll share right now with you. And with this bread, I wish you a happy ending year, Merry Christmas, and I see you, and I see you in the next time.
Alpha, Omega, and Rastafari.